Don't give me that look. I look good, I think. Heather. Okay, I'm gonna need to put my glasses back on. I tried to look cool, 70s style with the sunglasses. I can't see a goddamn thing. So there we go. All right, try. What do you think? This 70s. I wish I had longer hair. I do have. If I zoom in, I do. I shaved and tried to keep my mustache. See, but it's not very. You can't really see it. Try to look. I want to do the sideburns too, but like I fucked up. So you got the mustache. So I tried to look as 70s as I could for this review, which is X. Look, the duck in here. So yeah, X came out all the way back in this year, and yeah, it has lit the world on fire. It seems with a prequel just releasing not too long ago and a sequel on the way. We're gonna talk about that at the end of my feelings for this now franchise, but yeah, X was a movie that when I watched it, I had to do some thoughts on it. So I do have like a quick, non-spoiler blurb about it, like a 1 minute short. Just, initial reaction where I did like it a lot. I still do like it a lot, but maybe it's a good thing I waited. See, I waited because I wanted to review this now for October, so I waited to review it till now. And maybe now with Pearl coming out in the same year and everything surrounding this now trilogy films, that a rewatch is warranted. And well, let's talk about this, okay? Sit down. There we go. Hello. Okay. So, yeah, the story is simple. A group of people, a group of filmmakers go to this farm to film porn. And while there, they meet this elderly couple that end up going on a killing rampage. And yeah, it becomes a slasher 3/4 of the way through. It's another one of those slow builds. And to be honest, when I first watched this, I was like, this is a slasher? Where is everything? It's an erotic thriller slasher film directed by Ty West, whose only film I'd ever seen before this, and I'm not kidding, was Cabin Fever 2 Spring Fever. Yeah. The one where the guy gets infected with the virus through his dick. That one. So, let's just say I didn't have much, hype going into this because that's the only movie I knew from him. Sure, he had done others. He'd done others before this and after that, but no. For me, no. Yeah. So, yeah, like I said, it doesn't actually get to the slashing until it's pretty much the third act. Like the last 30 to 40 minutes of this movie. This is an hour and 40. I'd say on the back of this slipcover. I got the slipcover right here. Kind of cool. 106 minutes. That's an hour, 46 minutes. All right. The first hour is all character study, people stalking people, drinking lemonade, sex scenes, boobs, wiping jizz off your leg. Yeah, they do that. Singing, landslide. The slasher part doesn't happen until the last 40 minutes, which is really good. That's when the movie gets really good, is when it's the slasher. But in hindsight, rewatching this, the first hour of this movie is, for lack of a better term, boring. I mean, the character work is good. There's a lot of talking. Yes, sure, it's nice to see boobies, but, I know there's a lot of like character work with the character of Pearl, you know, looking around at these youngsters and stuff, but I get what they're trying to do, right? There's a lot of character interactions with her, where especially with her and Maxine. So I'm gonna point out one of the biggest negative I have for this film, and that's that they didn't use actual old people. I understand you gotta make them look like really old, but I do not like it. I'm not saying I hate it, but I do not like it when you do a movie with elderly people and credit, you could make them look fine. Like Maggie Smith in Hook. I thought she was really that old, and then she popped up in Harry Potter in 2001, and I was like, wait, how come she looked younger than she did in that movie? And oh, it's makeup, you know? That. But you are transforming a 23-year-old actress in Mia Goth into an 80-something-year-old woman, and even with the 50-year-old guy they got to play Howard, he looks more convincing, but they still don't look like, you can tell it's makeup when you're trying to make them that old. No one looks that grotesque when they're that old. I'm sorry. I've seen a lot of old people, and they're not that grotesque looking. Never. I'm just saying. But that does not take me out of the rest of the film. I do think it's weird. Like, I understand what they're trying to do with casting, having the same actress, Mia Goth, play both Maxine and Pearl, especially since they did that prequel with her. And but I understand he had the same actress, but then you're gonna do this prequel with Mia Goth playing that character Pearl, and you have pictures of her, and not once does anyone say, "Hey, you look just like her." No, they don't mention that once. Like, she's looking at the picture and she doesn't even say, "You look just like me." No, nothing. There's no. If you're trying to do the parallels, maybe you're trying to be nuanced about it. Maybe you're trying to make the audience figure it out. Maybe you're trying to be loud with your door lock. I don't know. That last one just annoying people out there. Yeah, I don't know. And I do like the opening to this, though, because the opening is insinuating something. It's subverting your expectations for what the rest of the movie's going to be like. All right? Because you see an image like this, right? With her and the axe. And you go in, and you see a bunch of dead bodies, old people's bodies, everyone's bodies, but there's one person missing. You know, because you don't see Mia Goth anywhere. And you go into seeing she's going to be the killer. And she's going to end up killing everyone. That ends up being the two old people. And yes, you can say, oh, technically she is the killer because she's the old... Just shut up. And the twist that she's the Reverend's daughter means nothing. I don't understand. Like, this is my daughter. Like, we see this preacher pop up here and there throughout the movie. Especially towards the end. And at the end where the cops are going through, or when she's leaving, I guess, it's revealed that Max is the Reverend's daughter, and I really don't understand what that's supposed to mean. She's the Reverend's daughter. Okay, what was the big deal with that, and maybe this gives you an insight to the porn industry. Like, this is back in the 70s, like when Debbie Does Dallas, was doing numbers. So they, back then they actually showed them in theaters, whereas now they don't do that. You gotta look on the internet, you gotta go on websites and type in stuff. Back then they shot them, like, there's parodies and stuff, like This Is Not the Pretty Bunch or something like that. I've been in the back room of a family video. Shut up. Shut up. Yeah, but yeah, like the first hour of the movie is not really anything to talk about. There's a lot of character stuff. You see them shooting the sex scenes. I think the actors all do a great job. I didn't realize it was Martin Henderson at first until every guy could look at him like, wait, then the guy from The Ring and Torque, which I feel like I have to cover because I've done all the other Fast and Furious movies. That was from the director of that. I thought it was a spin-off, Torque, back in the day. I had the DVD, it disappeared. But I thought it was a spin-off. And so I would set it next to my Fast and Furious movies. And then like, we're going to have our first spin-off with Hobbs and Shaw. Like, what about Torque? Turns out that's not even connected. It's just directed by Rob Cohen. So anyway, back to the movie I'm actually trying to review here. But yeah. Once you get to the slasher stuff, though, it really... Like, I wouldn't say, like, the first hour is completely, like, not worth your time. Because there are some great character stuff. If you like tits, there you go. You know, sex scenes. There's a really weird one where Pearl is watching Maxine do her sex scene. Turns into her. And, like, they do this so much, though. They parallel it. Like, she has this... She drinks the lemonade... And she leaves and she goes to do her sex scene. And her sex scene starts with her saying, you know, she's older than me. She's talking about the sister in the porn that they're doing. Where it's like, she's older than me and she's jealous. And this directly reflects onto Pearl, who later gets all dressed up and everything. Because she wants to fuck her husband. But my heart, I can't do it. It's my heart. And later... They do it, and he does end up having a heart attack. So, yeah, that's probably the weakest death of the film. Is he just... It's like, it's not... It's played for serious, and she's like, oh, Howard? He's like, It's not like the one in Child's Play 3. Like, God, fucking kidding me. You know, not like that. He just, falls down. Like, actually, they could say that Howard was the one that killed all these people and then had a heart attack. Pearl, I don't know how they justify it. I do want to say that so notable actresses besides Mia Goth, this is the first movie I've ever seen her in. Apparently, she's dating Shia LaBeouf. Feel sorry for her. I wonder. Like, if they're about to, do it, like, he, like, undoes his pants and he's like, just do it! I don't know. Anyway, Mia Goth, you have Jenna Ortega, who is in Scream 2022, and Babysitter Killer Queen, Martin Henderson, who's been in The Ring, and The Strangers Prairie Night, Brittany Snow, who has been in Prom Night, and Prom Night remake, and Would You Rather, which is one I haven't seen yet. And Scott Mescudi, or Kid Cudi, who was in Need for Speed and Bill and Ted Face the Music. And then I don't know. Apparently the guy who played Howard was an orc in Lord of the Rings. That's cool. This is filmed in New Zealand despite taking place in Texas. Apparently there's some foreshadowing. The only one that I caught is that at the beginning when Bobby Lynn, played by Brittany Snow, walks out, they show an alligator. It looks like it's eating her head. And then later she gets eaten by the alligator, which is a memorable kill, but because it's done in the dark, you don't really see much. And yeah, the kills are decent, but they're all at night. So it's really kind of hard. Like, Kid Cudi gets shot by Howard, point blank range with a shotgun. Jenna Ortega is murdered. She's like the only one who's really in the light, really. And then Bobby Lane gets fed to the alligator. I don't even remember what happens to Wayne. I'm in the middle of watching the kill count, so I'll find out. But, yeah. But the slasher stuff really picks up. I do like RJ. Like, okay, so we have the two lead actresses, Mia Goth, Brittany Snow, the porn actresses, and you have Jenna Ortega. She's basically the one that holds the boom mic. She's RJ's girlfriend. And then you can tell when she watches these sex scenes that something is happening inside of her. She went, and then she's like, "I'm gonna do a scene," and he's like, "No," because he has her up on a pedestal. He thinks she's pure and doesn't want to do that. And let me tell you something. If she is a virgin, I don't. I don't. I don't think you want to have a sex scene with a virgin. Like, yes, you don't see anything with her because she's the only actress in the movie that not do nudity. You even see Pearl, but it's all prosthetic stuff. But still, I don't know. It's just like, yeah, we could use it, but if she's never had sex before, she doesn't know how it works. She was watching them do it, sure, but like, it's a whole different experience. I've never been with a virgin, so uh, but I know for a fact that it's not like what you're like. I've had my first time, but like, if it's weird. Like when you, how do I say this? It's becoming a very weird review. But like when it's your first time, I can't speak for a woman, but like when it's their first time, I think maybe it's a little bit different than if you're used to it. Let's put it like that. So I don't think they're gonna. I don't know if that scene's gonna turn out the way they want it to. But that RJ, he's all pissed off. He takes a shower and he goes to leave. And this is where it happens. He goes to leave. You got "Don't Fear the Reaper" by Blue Oyster Cult playing on the radio, and then Pearl shows up and kills him, and then you get this weird classic music thing. She's going like this with the red because she killed RJ, and so now it's red all over the headlights, right? So it's like she's doing this and stuff. It's really weird. Mia Goth has a great performance in this as both characters, I'll tell you that much. But yeah, there is one scene that's like gratuitous. Like we have the sex scenes for the porn movie they're making, right? But like in the middle of this movie, they decided we need one more scene of nudity. So they have Mia Goth walking around in just coveralls that barely cover her tits. By the way, you get side boob all over the place. But she goes to like the dock. She takes her clothes off. She jumps in the water, swims around, kind of like Jennifer's Body type thing. Only you see the tits here, because that movie wasn't about nudity, but the marketing said yes, it is, and yeah. uh, but yeah, and she almost gets eaten by the alligator, which is a setup for later. No, crocodile, alligator, crocodile. I don't know. Okay. But yeah, you get that, and it's like, okay, I get that we'd see the sex scenes because it would be, it would make sense. But like her randomly just getting naked to skinny dip, I don't know. It's just to add a little more nudity to the film, I guess. But but Maxine eventually fights back, kills Pearl. I think she runs her over, and then we just cut to the police. Like we get the reveal that she's the Reverend's daughter, which again I don't know what that's supposed to mean. And then yeah, we cut to the end, and we get like James Galen saying they find the camera. What's on this one goddamn fucked up horror movie? And it's like, okay, but we know that's not what's on. I get what it's supposed to mean, but it's like, no, you're gonna find porn on there. Can you imagine? They go back to the station, they set it up, and they start playing it. Sheriff, what in the goddamn hell is this? Goddamn porn movie. Back then, no, I think they were more appreciated, but yeah, that's X. And if you were in the theater, this is where we're gonna get to the real big talking point of this video for me. If you were in a movie theater, you saw a trailer for a prequel to this called Pearl, which came out already. Same year as this. I don't understand. They filmed it back to back with this. Okay, so it takes place on the same farm, I think. And it's set during World War One. Because they have to go by the actress's age. So you have Mia Goth returning, this time to play Pearl. And it's another slasher, I think, set in the early 1900s. Cool. But then, if you went to see Pearl, there was a teaser for a sequel to this one called Maxine with 3 X's. It's going to take place in the 80s, apparently. I think this is going a little too fast. All right, I'm assuming slash expecting that Maxine will come out next year at some point. Because I don't, this one happened so quick, the same fucking year. And let I remind you, like, these were both getting great reviews, but the last time we had two movies in the same franchise come out the same year was Hellraiser Deader and Hellworld. And while I really enjoy Hellworld, Deader's okay. A lot of people shit on both of those movies. I like Hellworld though. I think it's underrated in the film series. But yeah, just I don't know. It's iffy for me. Like when I came out, I was like, okay, this is cool, and then we're gonna do a prequel. All right, so in a couple of years we'll get it. No, maybe even a year later, 2023, it'll come out. Same year, later the same year. And I'm like, okay, this is going fast. And then they announced the third one. I'm like, okay, what are we doing here? Why are you doing what? Can't we just make movies to make one movie? Why is everything got to be a goddamn franchise nowadays? Like, I get like, okay, we'll make this movie. Like, what? I have a feeling if I went to Hollywood with an idea for a movie, okay, I'm gonna do this movie and I want to make this movie. And they're like, okay, is there a potential for sequels or spinoffs? Is there potential for sequels after this? I'm like, I don't know. I just want to do this movie. Yeah. But is there potential for sequels? I don't know. I don't care. I just want to make this movie. Like, I feel like if you go to Hollywood with the idea to make one movie, they're going to try to make some kind of franchise out of it. Nowadays, I guess that's what makes money, but what happened to, like, movies that are just good enough, and they only make one movie, and you wonder why that never got a sequel, yet it's still only to this day one movie, but you want a sequel. Like movies like Pulp Fiction or Shawshank Redemption don't actually have potential for sequels, but other movies like Timeline, which I think is an underrated gem, could have had a sequel, sort of. Movies like It Follows or The Burning, which could have had sequels. It Follows might still have a sequel, but like The Burning could have had a sequel, those sort of things. But no, this is a good movie, don't get me wrong. But I feel like it would have more impact as a movie if it was just one movie. There are movies out there that could have a bigger impact on stuff if they're just one movie. Like, I could go my whole life never seeing a sequel to Ready or Not. I'm fine with this. If they come out with a sequel, would I watch it? Hell yeah. But I could go my whole life with not needing a sequel to this. If the Texas Chainsaw Massacre never ever had a sequel, I think its impact would be far bigger. Some movies you can't say that. I think, like, out of the big horror franchises, Halloween, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and Nightmare on Elm Street would be the ones that if they only had one movie ever, they would. I mean, Halloween's already an instant classic, so is Nightmare on Elm Street, and even Texas Chainsaw. But I think they would have a bigger effect as these movies from a time now long forgotten that are instant classics for being those kind of stalwart films. Just by themselves, you know what I mean? Friday the 13th, probably not. If Friday the 13th was the only film in that franchise, it would probably just go down in history as one of those 80s B slashers that you see everywhere. Kind of like The Burning. But, yeah. Sleepaway Camp is another one. Imagine if they didn't do any sequels to that. That already has a legacy for one of the sickest twist endings in history. Just think about if there was no other sequels to that. How much of an impact it would be. So if you were to only have X, right? This is already making waves in the same year it came out. And you didn't do Pearl. You didn't do Maxine. I think, like, in the future, it would be known as one of the, have a bigger impact. But now, you are sequelizing these movies so very quickly because from Marvel and everything that you can make money off of these. So you're setting it up, and then like right away, like, oh, we can talk sequel. I think you go to Hollywood and they won't greenlight a movie anymore unless there's a potential for sequels. There's some out there that won't, but often nowadays your movie comes out and you say sequel is planned, and it's like, Jesus, you can't just have one movie. You know what I mean? There's my gripes. I just wanted to point that out. It's just why I like this movie. I'm still gonna give it a pretty good, but I think, like I said, adding sequels and prequels to it kind of lessened it for me. Like, if I don't think it would have gotten it to the moon at all, because like the first hour is just meandering and the slasher stuff at the end. But yeah, so what are your thoughts on X? Comments below. Comments below. And now, up next, is it To Be Tuesday? It's time to be Tuesday. That was terrible. To Be Tuesday. I don't know what I'm doing yet. I have no clue. I have to look. But until then, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.